In episode number 357 of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, we cover Zack Snyder's announced Norse project.
We also have the latest crossover from Boom Studios, an unlikely one that I really didn't see coming.
And our comic book highlight this week is No One Left to Fight #1.
All of this and so much more on today's show.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I am your almighty Emperor Kelli.
And I am Rocker Daniel.
That's jazz. That's not rock. You gotta be like...
Fine, I'm Clinton, Daniel. Jesus. I'm Clinton. Daniel.
Wouldn't you be Daniel Clinton?
Just podcasting. I guess I would be.
Would you listen to his podcast if he had one?
If he spoke like that, yes. Sending new brokettes to the show. The way we format it is first we go through some news. We head into the Patreon shoutouts, which are thank yous to everyone who make the show possible. We go into our comic book review this week, which we do have 2 of them. And then we end it with our Brokette block, which is where Kelli and I have been.
Our first bit of news is on the small screen, though. Something that I'm sure you're excited for is the long-awaited Rocko's Modern Life TV special titled Who Cares?
Boo! You don't like Rocko's Modern Life?
No, I don't. It's such a boys' show.
A little bit.
Anyway, it's really called Static Cling, and it will be released on Netflix on August 9th.
So the premise of Static Cling is essentially the characters have continued to exist, but now they're dealing with the modern life. So it's still the cartoon, but they're dealing with technology,
so
social
Rocko's
media.
Modern Life?
Yeah, it's kind of neat that they're almost everlasting in that way. I didn't see from the trailer, I didn't see that they were actually physically older. Maybe I missed it, but they looked like the same characters set in today's world, which was really neat. And I know this is a special that they've been really harping on with the creator, who's also been like, guys, I'm with you. I'm shopping this thing around. And they have announced this special, or rather, we've been waiting for this special since 2006. And unfortunately, we had even reported on it, I think a year or two ago, that it was supposed to be on Nickelodeon, kind of like how they did the Hey Arnold TV special, but it never released.
Because who cares?
I'm kind of curious what held it up. I haven't been following the special quite as closely as some of these Rocko fans.
Probably because if it stayed true to the way that they made the original, you can't release that in 2019.
Well, the other thing I was thinking is if they air it on Nickelodeon, the demographic, which are probably people my age, aren't or don't have access to Nickelodeon or wouldn't catch it on there.
Right.
We want to stream it on something or we want to buy it somewhere, whether it's digitally or physically. So this seems to be the right move. Putting it on Netflix on August 9th next month, it's coming up quick. Everyone has fucking Netflix. People our age, that's how we mainly consume a lot of television especially, so that's where they're putting it.
The original cartoon ran from 1993 to 1996, and as you mentioned, the special was announced in 2006, so long-ass time for it to get here.
20 years by the time it releases since the show ended, 96? That's pretty amazing that we're still getting that content.
More than that, 23 years.
Is it 23 years? 1996, 2006, 2019. Oh, 2000. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
You're flipping your 6s and your 9s. 23 years. Who is the math genius here?
Is that why I failed college math once?
Twice. Once.
You
know, the teacher just gave you a C, so you passed.
Thank goodness. It was my last math class, too.
I remember you were so mad because you're like, ugh, I failed that. Like, you failed all your tests, and the teacher was just like, here's a passing grade.
I kept falling asleep in that class, too. Wasn't it like my morning one? It was the very first class of the day.
No, it was your online one.
No, there was one that we actually went to at Valencia College, and that's the one I kept falling asleep during.
I don't remember.
Are you going to be watching this, or can I? Okay,
No.
cool. So I can not wait for you. I can just watch it.
Yes.
Awesome.
Because Palpa don't care.
Palpa don't care.
Palpa don't care.
I've been liking the comic book that's been releasing. It's kind of held me over.
Palpa don't care about that either.
The art style is kind of stuck to the cartoon a little bit. It doesn't do the craziness like where the brain's coming out of the head or any of that, but it still continues and stays true to the story. I know for Rocko's Modern Afterlife, Heifer becomes a Twitch streamer, and he streams from his home. He never gets infected because he never leaves his home.
Of course
and
not.
People are still donating money to him and watching his stream. It's pretty good.
This show was not for me, even when you started watching it again, because you bought all of them around the time that I had Leo. And then we were watching through them again. Still not for me. It just brains coming out and people getting run over, and I don't know, doesn't appeal to me. Like I said, it's a boys show. So I'm happy that you enjoy it. I'm happy that this is coming out for all the people who loved Rocko. Again, this is a great time to be alive for nostalgia.
Something else that will be coming to Netflix is Zack Snyder's anime-style cartoon based on Norse mythology, exclusive to Netflix. So it's that relationship between Netflix and Zack Snyder continuing to blossom. This is his new home.
It sounds so cool. I don't even know anything about it. I just know Zack Snyder and Norse. And that's all I need. It's my people. He's making a movie about my people.
Damn right he is. Veteran Warner Brothers animation director and, more importantly, storyboard artist to Snyder's cut of Justice League, Jay Oliva will co-create this with Zack.
Well, then you already know it's going to be badass. That right there, that's all you need.
Jay has already been very active on Twitter about this, about the Snyder cut as well, but people are saying pay extra attention to his Twitter account once they get rolling on this, because that's how much closer he's going to be to talking to Zack. And Jay is the kind of guy that will go out there. He'll spend an afternoon on Twitter and argue with naysayers about the Justice League cut. And his main thing is always, I worked on it. I know it's real. I'm telling you it's real.
Right.
And they're like, I guess, but it's still not coming out. Like that's always
okay.
Jay Oliva also he worked on Dark Knight Returns, which was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And Flashpoint Paradox, a bunch of the animated movies.
That's great.
Which we're going to talk about later in the show, too.
We do have a quote here from Netflix's head of anime programming, John Deirdrian, who said, quote, Zack Snyder's innovation in visual storytelling has pushed the industry forward and established him as one of the most distinctive filmmakers of his generation, end quote. Tell me something I don't know, John.
He's got a massive fan base, too,
yeah,
right behind him that is going to follow him everywhere he goes, especially with the way he was treated at Warner Brothers. Snyder and Oliva are already working with Netflix on 2 other projects. Snyder is writing and directing Army of the Dead, and Oliva is producing the animated series Trece, or Tres. I don't know what language they're going for, but if it's Trece, then it's 13 in Spanish.
It's probably spooky then.
It might be.
$5 says it's something spooky. No release date has been given for this, but I'm all on board. I'm going to watch it. You cannot watch this without me. Watch your Rocko's Modern crap all you want, but not Norse Gods by Zack Snyder.
I think it'll be a few years for sure before we see this. He's got to get rolling on, and he is on Army of the Dead, and then I don't know if they're going to work on this at the same time, but I think they're each going to finish their respective projects before they deep dive into whatever this ends up being titled. Norse mythology, anime style, by Zack Snyder and Jay Oliva. Count me in on Netflix. Well done, Netflix.
Is there going to be some Naruto running? That's the big thing now.
If there's Naruto running, Zack's going to make it look better than ever.
Hell yeah.
I like the meme on I hate that I'm bringing it up, but the Area 51 thing, and it got started by Naruto runners. Like, make sure we just got in a tour run so we can avoid the bullets. And then from there, it blew up. That's what you had shown me.
Right.
And people have since gone, all right, well, we needed the Natura runners, the furries, and they're just putting all these weebs in there, basically.
I love that people are, we're going to get into this now, right? Because I think it's hilarious. And I'm not posting tweets or anything myself, but I love watching people's. And I don't know if they're legitimate or if people made them up, right? But there's one with Barack and Biden. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Where they're smiling at the camera and the caption is, I think we still have the codes to Area 51. See you there. And then there's one with Betty White where it says, like, you can't kill the undying. See you at Area 51.
That's amazing.
Or there's like, I have to show you some. And there's some where they're just making fun of people because people look really weird. So they're like, when you steal an alien from Area 51 and teach her how to be a hoe. People are really fucking clever. And then I saw another one that says the best part of all of this is that no matter what happens, we're going to get memes. So like no one shows up, memes. Everybody dies, memes.
Absolutely.
We find something, memes.
100%. It's the internet. Half of today's news is actually comic-based. So this is where we're transitioning into that. With those of you who do a lot of CGC grading or are very interested in grading, they have now teamed up with eBay to offer their grading services for comics and collectibles sold through the website.
They're releasing a service called Authenticity Review, which is for $5 per collectible. And with this, a CGC expert examines the photos and magically can tell things. Anyway, examines the photos from the eBay listing and provides a preliminary opinion of the collectible's authenticity. So they'll say things like likely genuine, likely not genuine, and inconclusive.
They will also offer a higher tier called Authenticity and Grade Review for $10 per collectible. And the same expert will examine photos once again from eBay, listing as likely genuine or the authenticity of the item, but also a preliminary opinion of its grade range, which could be from a 0.5 to, they have it listed as high as an 8.0 grade. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing they're protecting themselves by not going any higher than an 8.0. I think it's kind of iffy. I think it's kind of weird. I think it puts a lot of responsibility on CGC. However, it's also a use at your own discretion type of thing because a lot of these photos can be manipulated. A lot of them can be the item that's not actually there. But then at that point, they can claim that they graded the comic or item that was actually in the picture. So it's not on them what gets actually sent.
Right. There's a lot of ways that they can protect themselves within this too. Like, I think it's a pretty interesting idea, right? If you're somebody who wants something, but you don't know how to grade them yourself, right? You don't know anything about it. Or even if you're a seller and you want them to back you up and say, yeah, this is what they're saying, you know, it probably is, right? That's something that you could take advantage of. It's going to cost you 10 extra bucks, right? But then you sell your product. Yeah,
that's that's going to be a weird part too, because if someone's trying to sell it, and it goes either way, someone that's trying to screw someone out of money, or, I mean, it is on both sides, where they put up the comic book, they list it as a 6.0. They're like, I don't think it's a 6.0. I think it's a 5.0, which can be a significant difference on more expensive comic books. That could be hundreds of dollars on either side. And then if they're like, well, let's let CGC say it, and they decide it's a 5.0, now the seller, then it's all still subjective anyway. I don't care if it's CGC. Right. You know, the CGC and I've gotten books graded from CGC. You and I have that. It's like, that's not a 9.0 or that's not a 9.2. It's an 8. Like, there's things like that.
Right.
And then there's grades where I look at a book and I view it, I'll give it a harsher rating. And then, you know, the owner will say, no, I think it's a higher grade. So even between two people that work in the same store, will disagree on a grade or a subjective opinion.
Who had lunch and their coffee that morning and who didn't?
It can be that easy. So someone can claim that, say, hey, CGC actually says it's a 5.0. You got to lower the price on this item. It gets kind of iffy like that, but it'll all sort itself out over time. The reviews will take up to 2 business days, which is another thing where maybe the item's sold by then, or does the item get held until the review comes back? And that's also frustrating for the seller because now they're waiting 2 days.
Right.
Inconclusive analysis will result in a refund. So you won't, if they can't tell what it is based on the picture, you don't pay anything. But those who purchase one of these services will then receive a discount on a full grading in the amount of the cost of the service. So that's how they tied it into their core business, which you then offer a small discount and then have the item shipped maybe directly to them. I don't know, again, how they're partnering with eBay.
They're going to have to be really careful, and I'm sure there's going to be a contract in there somewhere that says, by selecting the service, I understand that it's preliminary based off pictures, which can be manipulated. It's going to be to the best judgment of the CGC, whomever, official, whatever they want to call themselves, to protect them, right? Because I could look at it through a picture and say, yeah, it looks like a 6 because the lighting's bad, and then it gets to me and it's a 3.
Right.
And now I'm grading this for you, and it's not what you paid for. It's not what we said it was. So I'm sure there's a clause somewhere in whatever they sign up for saying, hey, we're just looking at a picture.
I think I saw a tweet, might have been from Innsmouth, that asked, what's your opinion on grading services? And it was just a generic thing. Like it wasn't directly at us, but I think this ties in well to the CGC eBay service. And I think we both stand on the exact same thing, where we very rarely get something CGC graded. And when we do, it's so that we don't have to change out the bag and board at a later time. We don't have to worry about it needing UV protection if we decide to display it. And also, it does encapsulate it for something that we know we don't want to flip through or read anymore. So we do have a short box of a couple of graded books. But for the most part, I get this UV protection case that we sell at my comic shop. It offers the exact same protection. You just have to throw it in a Mylar, which is what they put it in as well. The only difference is it's not sealed and it doesn't come with the grading, which is nice because you can take out your book and you can go through it, and it's also less than half the price.
I thought we got him CGC'd so that when you're gone, I'm a rich woman.
Well, when I'm dead, who cares? Like, that might be the case.
I'm selling all your shit.
I won't exist.
Selling it all.
So continuing on the comic book news, there's a huge partnership here for a 5-issue miniseries between Boom Studios, IDW Publishing, and Nickelodeon for the following title, which is the longest one, I think, of one of the longest in comics.
Mm-hmm.
It is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Go, go, Ninja Turtles.
Whoa.
Whoa. It's a shell of a town. Isn't that how it goes?
Yes.
I think this is an awesome idea. What are you so mad about?
I'm not mad at all. I'm just like, this is a long-ass fucking title. and if they do another volume and they have a subtitle to it, it's like, Jesus Christ.
So this will be written by Ryan Parrott, who did Power Rangers Necessary Evil, with art by Simone D. Mayo. Did I say that correct? Yeah. Who did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
We have a quote here from Ryan Parrott through a press release that says, quote, "Honestly, I'm pretty certain keeping this project a secret has taken years off my life. These two iconic franchises were my TV parents, each teaching me valuable life lessons 30 minutes at a time," end quote.
It sounds like he's excited about it. I'm excited about it. Why hasn't anybody ever thought of this before?
It does feature the classic Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so a lot of people might ask, like the Power Rangers fans might say, which team? And it's like, you're right, which team? And it is the original, the most popular iteration of the Power Rangers. So you've got the Green Ranger, you've got the rest of them.
And the rest of them.
And then you have Donatello, Michelangelo, and the other two. So... No, it is really neat.
You have to include Leonardo now. You can't
Leonardo
not...
and then the other one.
And the red one.
There's got to be Zords based on the Turtles, right? Or at least Ooze manipulated Zords somehow. The villains in Power Rangers have to get Ooze on them and get transformed. It's got to happen.
Like Rita's boobs got to grow even pointier.
Yes, that's how she attacks. That would be good. I mean, this is a really cool crossover, and there is a lot going on here. IDW, Boom Studios, Nickelodeon, and I'm glad it all came through. One thing I commented on Newsarama's website is the way you cliffhang this bitch is on number 5, Batman shows up, they've already crossed over with both. Batman is crossed over with TMNT and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So you do a massive mega crossover. You create a comic book universe of crossovers between all the companies that are willing to play nice, and Marvel and Disney can sit over there because the mouse won't let them cross over with anyone.
You just blew my mind right now.
Wouldn't that be great?
Like, I have to just stare at the wall for a while because I can't comprehend anything else besides Batman being awesome for all these people.
What do you think? Are you going to read this one?
Yeah, hell yeah. Like I said, I think it's a great concept because both of them are like ninjas, right? Both teams kind of fight the same way. And then they can be like, cool, let me see your weapons. Why you got weird ass dinosaurs on them? It would be cool if the Ninja Turtle Zord was a prehistoric turtle.
That would be awesome. That would be really cool. Like an old ancestor of the turtles.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'm so cool.
The one part that always disappointed me in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Justice League crossover was in the final issue, they're all eating at the Angel Grove, the school or whatever, the cafeteria. And then Batman goes to pay with cash, and it's got the Luthor dollar on it. Like, it's got Luthor's face. And they're like, you can't pay for that in this dimension. And that's the joke. It's like Batman would not try to pay with his dimension's cash in another fucking dimension.
No, Batman would have the cash from that other dimension.
He would.
So that he could pay with it. He would fucking know. Jesus.
See, that would have been a better joke if they turned him. How do you have that? And then you cut the panel, like next page.
Where'd you get that money? Brr, 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 brr.
Always come prepared.
Brr, brr, then you go to the Batcave and he's just got money from every dimension. It's
yes.
Like, how does he know?
Need Easter eggs. Like you look in there, like, who's the president there and there? Like, do one of those. So we've got another comic book heading our way near the end of this year from DC.
DC is launching a brand new iteration of the Birds of Prey comic featuring Black Canary, Lame, Huntress, okay, and Harley Quinn.
This is going to be written by Brian Azzarello, who of course more recently worked on the controversial Batman Damned, with art by Emanuela Lupacchino, who's done the DC Comics Bombshells.
We do have a quote here from Azzarello on DC's website who said, quote, tonally, this series will surprise many readers. Emma and I are pushing the envelope, both character-wise and plot-wise, with equal parts estrogen and adrenaline. Our Birds of Prey will be the must-read title every month. Ambitious? Sure. That's why it's worth doing. End quote.
I like Brian Azzarello. I do like him. And I think I'm not a Birds of Prey fan. I do like Harley Quinn, and I do like Brian. So they got me for at least the first 3 issues.
3? I'll give him 1 issue.
I also like Emanuela.
He got to impress me. They got to impress me in this first issue. And if not, see you later. Bye.
Well, this is set to come out on October 30th, day before Halloween. Birds of Prey fans are pissed.
Why?
Because there is one huge member missing from their fan base.
Batgirl?
Yes, Barbara Gordon. They're saying that Barbara Gordon is an essential teammate to the Birds of Prey. And they're blaming the Birds of Prey film because that also doesn't have Barbara Gordon. And they're saying that that is affecting the comic books because now Harley Quinn is in that just like she is in the film.
So they've read this story and they've seen the movie?
And they've already decided it's terrible, yes.
And they already know. Okay. I mean, that's the only reason they could say that, you know, she's like essential and you can't have a story without her, right? Is they had to have read it already. What's
funny is in the full press release, Brian was talking about how Harley Quinn, to an outsider, is the most, he describes her as chaos, but she's the most grounded and most well-together member of the Birds of Prey. And I think that ties into her psychology.
Yeah.
So he says that he actually uses her as a way to ground the team and keep them together.
Huh. I mean, that quote right there, you can tell he put a lot of thought into it. So it should be good, hopefully.
I love how ambitious he is, too, where he says, no, my book is going to be the fucking must-read. I just got off of Bat Penis. And that shit sold well. Give me the Birds of Prey. Brian, don't you want to give me the fucking Birds of Prey?
Give them to me.
It's all right, Jesus.
Calm down, Brian. Eat a Snickers.
More coming from DC Comics, and it is from what I understand, one of the few times that the company has done something like this. but they have announced a series of sort of what-if style dark multiverse one-shot comics set to release in October, which yet again themes with the year of the villain, and in this case, the dark multiverse.
And Halloween.
Which in the past, at that time of year, they did the month of the villains or the villain takeover during Forever Evil. That was about 3 or 4 years back.
Each comic will be a prestige format, which is 48 pages per issue, set at $4.99, so it is a little bit more expensive.
A little bit more expensive, a couple more pages, and one of 2 titles that they've given an official sort of synopsis for. The first one is Batman Nightfall #1, which really plays into a lot of the readers that got into comics. Maybe they're in the 80s or the 90s, but everyone knows the story of Nightfall and how Batman's back was broken. But this takes place in a Gotham City 30 years after the Bat was broken, and he failed to take back the mantle of the Bat. So in this, Jean-Paul Valley is the one who took his place, and under his iron rule, Saint Batman has turned Gotham into the city of his dreams. Killing has become commonplace, and criminals live in constant fear, all in the name of justice. So, dark multiverse.
Why would the criminals still be there if they know they're just going to die?
They have no choice. Like, it's a poverty-driven town or city, right? Like, how could they afford to relocate to Metropolis or somewhere else?
Well, they got no things. They just walk there.
Just walk there, yeah.
Just walk.
It's that easy.
Just that easy. Well, it's that or death.
I think it's neat to think of what Azrael would have done with the city. I think we've seen something similar to this in Batman 666, in which Damian is the future Batman in that universe, and he's older, but he doesn't have the training that Bruce had. So he uses Gotham City as like his own personal type of booby trap, where he sets up bombs and killing devices throughout the city, especially in the criminal underbelly. So that's how he kind of keeps an eye on Gotham.
The next title they've announced is The Death of Superman #1. The synopsis is, in a broken world much like our own, Lois Lane, twisted by rage and grief over the Man of Steel's death, becomes the Eradicator, taking revenge on those who let Superman die and the corrupt world he could never defeat.
The cover of it shows her like holding Superman's dead body and just like red eyes of rage, and she has like this suit, like this super villain suit, which is really neat. So that's another one that I'm like, holy shit, like Lois becomes evil, and like that's really neat. Like, let's see that one shot. The other ones that they've also set to launch at a later time are going to be Infinite Crisis, Blackest Night, hell yeah, that's going to sell like crazy, New Teen Titans, The Judas Contract, and more.
Everybody loves what-if stories, right? This is, I think, a great direction for them to go. Like you said, the Lois Lane one sounds super badass, right? Never fuck with a woman. She'll fuck you up.
And I know some comments are saying that it's continued to go on the whole dark tone that the DC Universe is known for. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, bring it on, because it sells like crazy. Deceased is doing extremely well. Last Night on Earth, Batman Who Laughs, keep it coming, it will sell. But also the Marvel what-ifs always ended negatively. Like, those were always dark. So It's like, come on, those were dark too.
You know what's going to happen at the end of the Lois Lane one?
What do you think is going to happen? Superman's
going to come back and realize she's evil, and he's going to have to stop her. And then, like, maybe he has to kill her. And then now what?
Holds her in that same way
also?
Also? Man.
Oh, my heart. I got goosebumps. I just wrote the book. Fuck. Who's writing this? Tweet them.
I hope no one from DC is listening, because they have to change it now. Because legally you could sue them for that.
I just spoiled it for everybody.
Well, that's one of the things. They're always telling people, don't submit stories to us because we won't read them. We can't. If we read it, and then we're somehow influenced by it years later, we can get sued by it.
Guys, I won't sue you. This is my verbal contract. I won't sue you. Just like, I don't know, send me a free signed copy or something.
Unless it becomes like fucking massive. Because what if it becomes like a fucking live action movie? Let's not really close our doors here.
Even then.
No, not even then. No, not even then.
Let me come to the set if it's a live action movie.
And 1% of the earnings.
All right. How about like 0.5%?
All right. I'll 0.8%.
Are you negotiating?
Yes, I'm negotiating for both of us and Leo, our son. Yeah, that was it. That's the news for the week. Lots of comics heading our way. But we do have a good portion of Broquettes that came forward with some questions during the Broquette block. But first, let's head into our Patreon shout-outs of the week.
This week we have 4 shout-outs. The first one goes out to Jose, whose Instagram is at Kingdom T-shirt.
Joe started doing color stickers featuring Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z, so it's not just decals anymore. Now he's experimenting with actual color stickers.
Did you buy me some color stickers?
I don't think they're available yet on the website. It could be by the time this goes up. And you can check at kingdomtshirt.com. I'll get you a Vegeta one.
Dragon Ball Z is my favorite. You better buy me color stickers. I checked your Uniqlo site for Dragon Ball Z. All the shirts are gone. Remember you got that cool Frieza one?
Yeah, they're all gone?
There's no more.
Wow.
At least they're not on the website. Maybe they're still in the store.
Next shout out goes out to at @insmouth_tide.
Insmouth tweeted, quote, "If you go to San Diego Comic-Con and I like your post about it, know that I did so while overcoming great jealousy. Thank you. Have fun. Post pictures." End quote.
We're all jealous of every San Diego Comic-Con. People that have DC Universe as their subscription on the app, we talked about those free comics. They get a free set of posters.
Ugh.
They did a thing where they sent an email like a month ago where you can go on this yacht trip with other DC Universe members. And it's like, fuck, man. And you get to mingle, with other fucking guests and shit. Like, what if someone from like an actor
ever wanted to fucking mingle?
What? with you mingle with fucking Swamp Thing and shit? Hell yeah.
No, you just said people with the DC Universe app. You didn't say Swamp Thing. I thought you just wanted to go mingle with other weebs.
There's no way that there's not at least a cast member or one of the showrunners on the yacht.
So what if it was the guy who played Alec?
I'd avoid him the whole time. It'd be like a perimeter around him. Like, oh shit.
He just wanted to like hang out with you. So
it's like a game. Like I just gotta keep like getting busy, like running off to another place, and like I'm busy. Sorry, go. Like just run off. Like I gotta refill.
Bathroom.
He corners me. I just jump off the yacht. He jumps down, tries to save it. I'm like, no. I just swim down, yourself. Like drown. Get away from me. The only way he's gonna get near me is over my dead body. Like he's gonna have to drag my carcass.
Okay. What if they had on there the guy who played the murderer?
Oh hell yeah! Like that's the opposite. Like be like, hey man, how's it going?
But then what if he murders everybody?
That'd be kind of cool. Like quit playing. He tells me, little girl. Yes, sir.
This escalated very quickly.
His friend was so useless in that episode, too.
Yeah, he was.
Like, he didn't do anything.
He's like, just be cool, man. Be cool.
They could have been cool. Like, that cop would have left.
Yeah, he definitely would have left, and then there'd be no problem.
He decided to kill him. Like, he needed to die.
He was just angry.
Like, it was taking too long.
God was just like, what are you doing out here at night? Be cool, man.
And he was not cool. He was like, he was like hunched over, ready to grab that fucking hook. He was ready to kill. Didn't even hesitated. I'll take care of him.
Driller, the real killer. I want to go on this yacht now just so you can run away from Alec Holland.
Next shout out goes out to Elizabeth at EP Lifts on Twitter.
Elizabeth tweeted, quote, "I had 2 hours between work and school, so I took my comics and went to the pool. #perfect-day," end quote.
Go to the pool, read your comics, get your tan on.
Be cool. Go to the pool.
There you go. Be cool. Go to the pool. It's Mitch Hedberg right there.
It's, it's what's his name? Cool Dog, Teen Dog.
Yeah, Teen Dog from that was Boom Studios, right?
I think so. That was a long time ago.
Last shout out this week goes out to Joshua T on Twitter at Drips1963.
Thank you so much for your support, Joshua. It helps the show out so much.
If you too would like your shout out every single month, head on over to patreon.com/thereasonsimbroke for just $1. A single dollar a month. You get your shout out every month. I stalk your Twitter or your Instagram, and you add to the content of the show once a month.
Unless you're Alec Holland, then we're not stalking your Instagram.
Oh no, I'll avoid it at all costs. I'll refund you your money.
Just He'll pay you every month to stay away. But of course, guys, our podcast will always be free. The best thing you can do is let your friends know about us, unless they're Alec Holland.
You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We've got, I think, 36 at the moment. So if we can get up to 40 before the end of the year, that would be awesome.
That would be amazing. So that does wrap up all of our news and our Patreon shoutouts for the week. But because Innsmouth, the Patreon that we just credited, just thanked for all his support, asked for a double comic book highlight this week, that's what you guys are getting.
First comic book highlight is No One Left to Fight #1, written by Aubrey Sitterson with art and colors by Fico Ossio.
I didn't know what to expect from this book. You told me it was like Dragon Ball Z, so I read it.
Yeah.
It is Dragon Ball Z fan fiction. I have read this fan fiction before.
Have you really?
I really have.
Is it the same type of plot?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
You know who sold me on this comic book?
Who?
The writer.
Really?
He called the comic shop twice. Before, yeah.
Really?
He did. He called the comic shop twice, and both days I was there. And the first day, it was like, I was busy, I was ringing people up, and I do the greeting, and he gives me the long intro. Hi, I'm Aubrey Sitterson. My book, No One Left to Fight, is in the previews catalog. And I'm like, dude, because I get calls every now and again from writers, and to be fair, I know we get emailed previews all the time from comic writers, but calling the store, although it did work this time, but it's one of the rare times that it worked. But most of the time I'm like, because you called me and I'm working and you're trying to pitch stuff to me, I'm not going to get your book.
Right.
But in this case, he did say Dragon Ball Z. He said, this is great for fans of Dragon Ball Z. And the first time he called, I'm like, yeah, I'm really busy. I've got a line. And he's like, oh yeah, just, I'm going to email you something and you can check it out. Great. This is the email. Then I checked it out, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of like Dragon Ball Z. I had read the comic a few months back, and then he called again and wanted to up our numbers on No One Left to Fight. I upped it a little bit, and then, of course, it ended up becoming a speculator book. Mm-hmm. But the issue is the publishing company didn't make it returnable. Like a lot of companies now, indie companies are doing #1s as returnable. They didn't, so I didn't go super high on it. Lo and behold, it became a speculator book. But it really is kind of like, what if Goku defeats everyone, every villain, and there is no one left to fight? Now they're fighting among themselves, I guess. And the artwork is gorgeous. It's kind of like a colored pencil-ish type of style, but also merging a little bit with that anime influence.
Well, you forgot the point in there, too, where it almost looks like realities are shifting. Or something's happening with... Can we just call him Goku?
Yes, just call him Goku. There's a Goku, there's a Vegeta.
So Goku goes to visit Bulma and Vegeta, and at one point sees himself and Bulma together. And the kids are his kids, but obviously they're not. So that's the fan fiction that I've read.
Does that... Okay, so it's like Goku's with Bulma type of thing? Okay. Yeah, I thought that was... It adds an extra layer of like, oh, this is adult shit. This is not Dragon Ball shit. Like, weebs better stay away.
Well, you clearly haven't read fan fiction if you're like, this isn't Dragon Ball shit. Because that's Dragon Ball shit. I read this one fan fiction once, right? I'm going to go down this road. Where Bulma and Goku's like, I really need to find the Dragon Balls. Bulma, come help me. And then she's like, cool, I'll go help you. And she's with Vegeta at the time. And they're talking about like Vegeta the whole time or something. And then Vegeta realizes what's going on and goes to fight Goku. And he's like, nah, bitch. Calls the Dragon Ball. And he's like, I wish Vegeta wasn't even here and Bulma was with me. And then you're like, oh! And then it ends.
What an uncharacteristically thing for Goku to do.
It was fan fiction. Just let it happen.
Fucking writers.
14-year-olds.
But in this case, it does seem like it's more of reality shifting and not Goku trying to actually make that happen. But the Vegeta character knows that Goku is the greatest fighter in this world, and it's still a rivalry between the two.
Of course.
And because even his son wants to be like Goku instead of himself, like they don't want to play with his toy. They want to play with the Goku toy. He gets upset and he's like, no, I'm going to fucking defeat you to show my son that I'm better than you. But Goku's still the greatest fighter in this world still. And that's kind of, I don't know. I think there's a lot here for Dragon Ball fans. And there is a second printing coming to No One Left to Fight. So if you want one of those, make sure to pre-order it at your comic shop as soon as you can. Did this hook you enough to read the rest of it?
I don't know. Now that you talk about it, I think I like it a little bit more than I did. I think the piece that bothered me about it is it is Dragon Ball Z, right? But it's like 100% Dragon Ball Z, except they have weird names that I can't pronounce. But they're just so much like the characters that they're based off of that for me, I'm just like, well, I don't know, it's too much. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense?
If I can't make a Dragon Ball story, I'll make a different one and I'll just call them something else. I think even if that's what happened, great.
Yeah, I get that, but I want it to be actual Dragon Ball so bad that I can't get over the fact that Vegeta is now Tungarik or whatever his name is. I don't know. Some name I can't pronounce, right? And he's wearing his weird necklaces and I don't know.
I do love the artwork, especially, and I am curious to see where this timeline ends up going or sitting at. So yeah, I'm on board. Absolutely, I'm on board.
I'll read the second one, but at the same, like I said, it made me angry. Like just write it as a fan fiction, right? Make it a fan fiction, put it online, have a Patreon. People will pay in to see you make the actual Dragon Ball Z characters.
There might be some legal stuff to that, but
are you kidding me? People do that on Tumblr all the time.
They get paid for that shit?
They have a Patreon.
For actual licensed characters?
Yeah.
All right, well then do the Patreon. This seems to be working though. They sold out. It went out of print. So good on them. No One Left to Fight, #1. Our second highlight this week is Second Coming, #1, the very controversial comic series that was initially solicited by DC Vertigo. And due to, they're saying a backlash from the 1000 Moms, but I think it's mainly the Batman Damned #1 stuff, because after that, they started letting go of a lot of mature titles. So unfortunately, DC Comics kind of bitched out on mature titles and went, well, let's just limit this because it's bad press and so on and so forth. All because of Batman's dick. Like, again, the power of bat penis. Mm-hmm. The Batawang, as the internet calls it. So DC Vertigo ended up dropping Second Coming because of the religious implications, the blasphemy that, I mean, this isn't the first Jesus comic book anyway, but, once again, it's during that sensitive time. So now Aloha Comics has picked it up, and they are now publishing the title themselves, much like another indie title that DC ended up dropping that's now, I think, going to be an Image title. But this one is Second Coming #1. And we've got a creative team on this one.
Yeah, it's written by Mark Russell, art by Richard Pace, and the colorist is Andy Troy.
Mark Russell, who worked on the Flintstones about
Flintstones
2 years
were so
ago.
good.
So fucking good. That was the best of that Hanna-Barbera line. And then Exit Stage Left, which I believe won an Eisner.
I can see why they might have been scared of this book, but I feel this first issue far exceeded my expectations. And it has such a good message behind so much of it thus far.
Is your reasoning for them letting go of this is the fact that they show, honestly, do they show a male penis as well in this? Do you think they would have gotten so much backlash on this?
They would have. That was probably part of it. But also the way they portray God.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, oh man, these fucking humans, like I can't even deal with them.
That's how he is in the Bible,
I'm gonna go drink my wine. I get that, but people don't want to see that.
I still like Ricky Gervais's bit on that, where he's literally like reading off the same type of thoughts that he's going through, and it's like, yeah, he can. I do like the Christian interviews when they're like, yeah, he's kind of a petty god, and he can get jealous, and that's the way he's written, and they accept it, and it's like, cool, like that's it. But it's people that get upset over that I think will have an issue with this comic book. However, people that would have had an issue with this, like the 1000 Moms, aren't going to buy this anyway.
Right.
So what backlash is there other than getting you more promotion for the comic book?
Yeah, I agree. This one takes you, you said it was a quick read, but I feel like they really packed a lot into this first issue, right? So you get the whole story. You have Jesus writing in his diary, right? Like, oh, my dad created humans, and you get the story of Adam and Eve and what happened after that, and leading up to Jesus, like, okay, I'm gonna go down there and do what I need to do.
Try to help them.
Because right.
They had been set up for failure in a way.
Right.
Because he points out the weird logic behind the rules that are first set by Adam and Eve. So Jesus is kind of like, well, they need help because they're kind of trapped under this logic that we built around they're humans, and then keep going.
So he goes down to help them, and then God like checks in on him, and he's like, "The fuck are you doing? Like, you just let them kill you." And he's like, "No, I need to go back. I told them I'd be right back." And God's like, "No, you're gonna stay up here for like forever. You're not going back down there." Well, then you skip ahead to in the future, right? From where we are
more
now.
Than now, yeah.
Right. Like 3,000 something. I don't know. There's giant fucking robots and the superhero that has these godlike powers, and they make him very human, though, in the way they're, talking about how he feels. I mean, it's essentially Superman, right? But he's feeling all this. He's very upset because he can't help people as much as he wants. And then his girlfriend, his
Lois Lane.
Right, Lois Lane. They can't have kids, so they're trying to adopt, and they're being turned down, and all these things make them very relatable characters, and they're sleeping or getting busy. I don't know what was going on. And God pops in. He's like, "Hey, watch my son. Teach him things. He's a pansy ass."
That was the best. His big head ends up in the room. He's like, "Don't panic."
So Superman, we're just going to call him Superman. He's like Sunman or something. Right. I don't even remember. Superman takes him to this warehouse where these people are making illegal Pokemon cards, essentially. And, is beating up all these guys and throwing guys out the window. And he's like, "Okay, cool, I'll go interrogate them later." And he comes out and Jesus is like, "I healed them because they needed help." So there are a lot of funny moments. But then he tells this amazing story about this friend that he had in the past, right? Who he just wanted to help. And, gave him his carpentry shop and all these things. And the Romans came to him and had him start building crosses. And, because the whole point was he saw a cross above a church. And he said, well, that's not the most important part. The most important part was when people needed me, I was there for them, right? It's not that I died for them. He had this friend who began to build crosses and then was ostracized from the community and felt very alone. And, he had been Jesus's friend growing up. And in the end, he saw Jesus was about to be crucified on a cross that he built. And Jesus went and hugged him and said, "It's okay. I forgive you. Like, this isn't your fault."
Right. The Romans called him a Jew lover, and then the Jews called him a Jew killer. And there's a lot in while it is a comedy in some portions, there's it's fucking Mark Russell. He always gets to the heart of a lot of these issues in his story. In Flintstones, he got into the heart of economy and really civilization, the way things work in our world. And then in Exit Stage Left, it's about discrimination. And then now we're getting to, some of the positive uses in many ways for the Christian religion, at least, while also highlighting some of the bizarre, weird, negative stuff too.
Right. This first issue, right? I just thought it was great to have that message of the most important thing is to forgive people, to be there, to, it's not about the great massive works that you do. It's about the small things. Even if you're religious, I think you can still enjoy this. Just don't go into it assuming it's going to be exactly like the Bible, because it is a parody. It's a play on it, right? But there's still a lot of really good things. And I think thus far they've portrayed the character of Jesus very close to how the Christian religion views him, or should view him.
So there you go, 2 indie number 1s, both hard to get. So I'm sorry, but
have fun, bitches.
No one left to fight. Second printing coming, so you can still get one of those. And then
No One Left to Fight has a second coming. Woo, see what we did there?
And I don't know if there's going to be a second printing for Second Coming, but obviously you can get it digitally.
Not a second coming for Second Coming. Get with the picture, Daniel. You were just set up perfectly for both of those, and you dropped the ball. I am the Goku in this story.
You're the rebounder, but I can't slam dunk that shit. I can't do it. That's why I'm not the pulpiness. But there you go, everyone. Those are our 2 comic book highlights for this week. let's head into the Broquette block.
The Broquette block is where we talk about our week, and we also have a whole lot of questions from the Broquettes out there this week to help beef up this show, to make it awesome, like it always is. If you don't care about us, no, JK. But if you've gotten what you choose to out of the show, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Otherwise, let's hear about our week.
And there's going to be a lot of, like we mentioned earlier, DC animated talk. So there's still comic book stuff here in the Broquette block. But first, as a reminder, it's still during that period. We are trying to get nominated for the 2019 Podcast Awards for the third year in a row. Head on over to podcastawards.com and vote for us under Games and Hobbies, but also People's Choice. All you need is an email address, and it takes 2 minutes.
When you vote for us, you also have the option to click a little box that says, I would like to be a judge for the Podcast Awards. You could randomly be selected to be a judge, and then you have the end to really vote for us.
Yeah, that's when it starts in August. So if we get nominated, we'll know by the end of this month. So July 31st is the final day to vote for us under podcastawards.com. So we would really appreciate it. We're trying to go 3 for 3 and hopefully take it all the way home for the first time ever next month. But the odds are definitely, I think, skewing more and more in our favor, because this month, we're recording this roughly the mid-month of July, but July 2019 is the most downloaded month in our show's 6+ year history since we started in 2012.
And we're only
this
halfway?
month, and we're only halfway done. It's now setting the bar. It's setting the bar so fucking high. That's how you tell me. Shit.
That's it.
It's amazing. Thank you guys. Honestly, everyone. Thank all of you.
I created a spreadsheet. That's how important this was.
Yeah. You did this because you know how to Excel, both in life and in Excel.
At Excel.
That's right.
Thank you.
And you made a table that will automatically, it can set up the months and the dates and the download numbers. So normally I have to check between 2 stat sources because our podcast has been going on since 2012. So there's legacy numbering through Liberated Syndication, which is our podcasting host. And then there's the new stats that they started this year. And this is why I like Libsyn. They filter out a lot of bots, a lot of weird hosts like SoundCloud and stuff that doesn't really give you honest numbers. So that's one of the things that, they'll even lose clients over that because they're like, when I used to be on this service, my numbers were this. And they're like, yeah, because they weren't filtering out your shit. Like, they're not filtering out bots. So if you want false hope and false numbers, yeah, go back to that service. But we're not going to do that. So I think that's especially important because, with this legacy or with this new numbering, it's even more accurate to what the actual downloads are for the podcast. And it's incredible that a lot of it is listeners going back and listening to different episodes in the past. And then our average downloads per episode are also going up higher, which based on Libsyn's the feed podcast, we are doing per episode higher than over half the shows on their service. So that's already a milestone that I was looking to hit, and we are currently hitting that. So massive thanks once again. And we hope to welcome a lot of the new listeners. Hopefully you find something in today's show and in every week's podcast that you find helpful, entertaining, informative, something that keeps you coming every week.
I mean, I'm here, so
that's right.
What else do they need?
That's the minimum. Like, you already have Palpa Kelly. All of it is bonus after
Please,
that.
Yes, I'm hilarious. I crack myself up. That's exciting. I'm excited to finish my spreadsheet too, because those kind of things excite me. Is that weird? Am I super weird that and there's even little drop down things and it adds up things for it. Listen, it's so much fun.
And none of these records or downloads would be possible without the Broquette core. And a massive one that has come through for all of you out there is Twitter user @DCUFanFam, who has given us a Shazam digital movie code to use as a giveaway contest. So you got Podcast Awards nominations, we've got record-setting months, and now we've got a giveaway for all of you.
Free Shazam. And how do you win this free Shazam, Dan?
Head on over to speakpipe.com/thereasonsimBroke, and in 30 seconds or less, answer the following question and be heard on the podcast.
What is your all-time favorite scene in the DCEU and why?
And the why is the most important part. Don't just say, when Batman beat the shit out of Superman and Batman v Superman, you gotta give us the why. Tell us why.
In 30 seconds or less.
30 seconds or less. And you can re-record. So it's not like whatever you record is what's going to be sent in. You can redo it as many times as you want at speakpipe.com/thereasonsimBroke. Cutoff date on this.
August 25th. You have 1 month, guys.
Y'all got a full month to enter on this.
31 days.
So submit it through speakpipe.com/thereasonsimBroke. We will play it right here on the podcast. What's your all-time favorite scene in the DCEU and why? And we will randomly pick based on the qualifying answers and why. Once again, that's the key. And on the week after August 25th, we will announce a winner and send you your free code for Shazam.
But Daniel, I don't think we can make them do this without us doing it ourselves. So now you're on the spot. What's your favorite scene in the DCEU and why? 30 seconds or less, go.
Does the laughing count?
You're already
Does
like
right
20
count?
seconds in.
I'm going to go with First Flight in Man of Steel.
Yeah?
No, fuck.
No
And
Shazam for you.
No, time's over.
No,
Because
really.
it was awesome. No, yeah, I really like the First Flight, honestly, from Man of Steel. I do like the Batman v Superman fight between the two characters. Like, that's incredible. The warehouse scene is the most Batman scene that we've gotten on the big screen.
So
aside from Mask of the
your
Phantasm.
choice?
I'm fine. I'll go warehouse scene.
Okay.
Warehouse scene and Batman
Because
v
it's
Superman.
the most Batman scene.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of scenes though. There's just so many good scenes. What about you? Go.
It's a man. Oh man, this is hard.
Yeah,
oh
see?
shit, I gotta re-record. You said I gotta re-record. I don't think this is gonna come as a shock. It's the No Man's Land in Wonder Woman.
Nice.
Where you see like the full costume for the first time, right? And she steps out there and she goes, and it's because in that moment, right, one of the things that we've talked about for forever is she doesn't go out saying I'm a strong woman. She just goes out there saying I can help these people and I'm going to help these people. But she also gives hope to that entire army where all these men have been there in the trenches for forever dying. And she goes and she gives them hope and she helps them and really continues the war and saves all those lives.
Can I guess your number 2?
Yeah.
Is it Deadshot going, dun, dun,
I do really like that part. I get chills all the time. But I really think my second one, because it sticks out so much for me, is in Aquaman where they're going down into the trench and the lightning flashes and you see all the things, because it was beautiful. And it was terrifying. And I think that's my favorite part of that whole movie, right? Is just them diving down and getting to see all that terror around them.
That was stressful.
Yeah.
See, you guys have that option. You can think about it. But Kelly put me on the spot. God damn. All right. Well, we have other questions here from the Brokehead Core. Thank you all so much, by the way, for submitting these. And the first one is from William Paul on Twitter at William PALL, who asked, quote, if we exclude Generation 1 starters from the selection process, what's the new best starter? End quote. And of course, this is referring to Pokemon.
I already know yours. That was easy.
Wait, did you see it in the show notes?
No.
Who do you think it is?
Froakie.
It's not Froakie.
What?
It's not Froakie.
Is it Totodile? No, Mudkip?
It is Mudkip.
Mudkip.
Yeah, there you go. How'd you know?
Got you.
See, here's the thing. I thought it was almost Froakie. I really like Greninja.
Because he turns into Greninja.
And it's also a frog, and my favorite Pokemon is Bulbasaur, who is a frog. However, I had to rate it I went by overall. Because if I go just by the starter, just by that one Pokemon, I think it's still Mudkip. But like even in evolutions, Mudkip is amazing. Mudkip's better than Froakie. Now, Greninja and Swampert I really like Greninja. I like both of them a lot. But Swampert also has the Mega Evolution, which is amazing. It's like Swole Swamperts. And it has that amazing typing on top of that. It's a really cool Pokemon. So yeah, I am going with Mudkip.
Can you guess mine? I bet you can. I bet you can't. You don't really know me.
Now Rowlet?
No. Lame.
Who is it?
You're gonna think
Totodile.
I'm funny. No.
Who is it?
Cyndaquil.
Really, Cyndaquil?
Yeah.
You can't even see.
You leave Cyndaquil alone.
Eyes are closed.
You want to know why it's Cyndaquil?
Why?
Because he was the one that I chose first when I started playing through Silver. Silver being one of my favorite Pokemon games, right? But when I see Cyndaquil, I still feel the emotions that I felt when I played through that game and all the excitement because it was the first Pokemon game that I bought for myself. I guess it was really Crystal. Was the first Pokemon game that I bought for myself that was 100% mine because my blue version had been given to me and it was already beaten. And then I had to restart it. And then I thought I had to choose Squirtle because Blastoise was on the cover of the game because I was 6. Like, what the fuck did I know, right? Or however old I was. So, yes, Crystal was the first one that was completely mine. And I picked Cyndaquil. And I still remember, he was the only Pokemon I used through the whole thing, right? So he was super powered because I didn't know about switching out Pokemon and all that bullshit. Being in Bellsprout Tower, right? And just raining fire down on those monk assholes. And so I still, whenever I see him, and not that I'd ever choose him again, right? Because I know better now, but I still feel all those same emotions of excitement and adventure and all those things that I felt as a kid. So that's why he's, my favorite. Is he the best? No, not by any stretch. And then I don't remember, what was after that one? Ruby and Sapphire? I don't even remember who the hell I chose. Who was that? Trico? Was he in
grass
there?
one?
He was who I chose next. He turned into that snake. Yeah.
No, Trico? No, Trico turned into the big salamander thing with the Christmas tree on his ass.
So who was in the 3rd gen? I don't even remember. Anyway, Cyndaquil. That was my long story to come back to that.
Trico was the Gen 3 grass starter, but you're thinking of Gen 5 with Snivy. Snivy is the one who turned into that grass snake thing.
Oh, then I chose him too. I don't remember. They all blurred together after my youth was gone.
Next question comes from @SpoonSandwich, who asks, quote, through our Discord, if you could record the podcast on location from any place/event, where would it be? End quote.
I mean, I think San Diego Comic-Con is both of ours.
Yeah, that's my standard answer. But right now I'm going to give the answer of, because I want this to happen, and this is what I'm excited for now, is at a Fathom Events theatrical cut or showing of the Snyder cut of Justice League, where obviously I'm not recording during the movie, but I can do a podcast, have my phone with me and do a show, record some clips, and have an interview with some of the fans before the movie and then after the movie and talk about what the Snyder Cut meant, what it means to have it out and released, and what it means for artistic integrity for studios worldwide and for, of course, Zack Snyder and all of the crew that worked very hard on his vision of this movie. So that's going to be my answer right now.
That's beautiful. I would say for me, if we could record anywhere, probably Ireland, because that would mean we're on vacation and we just have to record the show while we're there.
On a cruise ship, maybe?
Yeah, man, that'd be great. An Alaskan cruise, that's on my bucket list for someday.
Next question also comes from William Paul, who asked you the following, quote, Kelli, are you familiar with the anime Fruits Basket, I'm sorry. I am not a weeb. And if yes, have you been watching the current series of it? End quote.
So I am pretty familiar with Fruits Baskets. I did watch all of the older series. It was pretty short. It was only 26 episodes or something like that. So I did watch all of that. I did read the majority of the manga. I fell off the wagon towards the end because I felt it just kind of got a little muddled. But I didn't even know that there was a new series, right? So I would love to watch it. It's on my list now of things to watch, and hopefully it's more true to the manga than the original was.
Is it do you know if it's a sequel or a remake of Fruits Basket?
I think it's a remake. You can't really sequel that thing up.
So it's kind of like Sailor Moon Crystal.
Yes.
That's cool. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I don't think it's for you. There's no fighting. It's about the Chinese zodiac, right? And there's this family where when they get hugged by a member of the opposite sex, they turn into whatever particular animal of the Chinese zodiac they are. And this girl comes in and has to help them break the curse, right?
There's a love story, isn't there?
Hell yeah, there is.
Is that mostly what it is?
That's the majority of what it is. But it did have one of my anime crushes in it. I forgot about him.
What character is it?
Oh man, I don't even remember his name. Yuki?
What's he look like?
He's tall and has gray hair. And he's the mouse.
I don't know who that is, but all right.
That's okay. He was an anime crush for a while. I mean, not as much as Vegeta. Vegeta's like what's the senpai? What is it that they call them?
I don't know. I could pull a Kelly and say who cares?
I care.
I won't.
I care. You don't. Who cares, Kelly? Kelly, who cares? You.
That's funny. So at Spoon Sandwich also asked, quote, "What's your favorite MCU movie?" Don't actually use that. End quote. What we're using.
I already know your favorite.
Yeah, I don't have an issue.
It's Captain America.
The first Avenger,
yes.
Yeah. Captain America, the first. I really don't have a problem answering that. Because I know it's one thing my coworker always harps on me. He's like, you have 6 of them. You have 6 of them that you like. I'm like, yeah, out of, 38 million of them? Like, how many fucking movies are there? It's a failing grade for the MCU. So that's not even a thing. But yeah, no, I like Captain America, the first Avenger. It's directed by the same director as The Rocketeer, which is perfect for that movie. I really like that first Avenger. And that's one thing after I saw that I'm like, yeah, man, I can't wait to see what he does in the Avengers. Holy shit, the Avengers was fucking terrible. He looked terrible too. Joe Whedon took him out of that classic costume that we got set up in the first Avenger. And that's one thing that the costume designer was like, the whole point is that he's a man out of time and you should retain the classic costume, but they didn't. And instead he had that goofy looking thing that Joe Whedon fucking Whedonized in that terrible goddamn movie. So they did bring it back, I think, in Winter Soldier, where he does have it on near the end of the movie, which is really neat. He goes to the museum and he takes it from the exhibit. So at least they found a way to bring it back, even if they haven't used it since.
I think for me, yeah, probably Captain America. I feel like I liked Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, also. But really, for the most part, I give them one watch or half a watch, and usually that's not enough for me to really say, yes, I liked this movie. It's enough to say, no, I don't like this movie.
Another question here comes from at @Innsmouth_Tide, who asked, top 5 DC animated movies. And these are, of course, the 2007 till today. So it does not count Mask of the Phantasm. Otherwise, I would have picked that. But I do have my list all lined up. At number 1 is Batman, The Dark Knight Returns.
Good
I
one.
was back and forth between this and number 2, which is All-Star Superman from Grant Morrison. That is absolutely excellent. Once again, one of those moments where the movie surpasses the written work. We also have at number 3, at least I have, is Green Lantern Emerald Knights, which came out with the live-action Green Lantern movie. But this was kind of like the Gotham Knights version of the Green Lantern series, in which you just got Green Lantern tales, and they were really cool. Also, at number 4 is Superman Batman Apocalypse, in which Batman defeats Darkseid without throwing a single punch. What a great Batman moment. And then at number 5, I put Batman Under the Red Hood, which is whiny-ass Jason Todd getting mad at Batman for not killing the Joker over him being the weakest Robin and dying at the hands of the Joker.
You should have killed him.
I'm not saying kill the Riddler and Penguin, just the Joker. Listen, Jason, god damn it. If you were truly not weak, you would stop all this bullshit.
I'm pretty much in agreement with your list. I think All-Star Superman probably moves up to number 1 for me.
Nice.
Because, that was really good. I absolutely loved the ending of it. One other one that I would add, I'm looking through the list right now, sorry. I really enjoyed Justice League Doom as well, where that's the one where Batman had the contingency for everybody.
That almost made my list.
And then that was really cool too, just to see the way Batman would have taken everybody out. And then he's like, Alfred, the Justice League's under attack. By who, sir? By me.
Yeah, I think most of our lists are from the earlier half of the DC animated universe because unfortunately lately they've tried to do this connecting universe where every single version, so they can't do New 52 Justice League without tying into Death of Superman, which could have been its own thing, but they decided to also tie it into this current continuity, and now they're doing the same thing with Batman Hush. I'm not a fan of that. Just make standalone, well, not even standalone, just the adaptations of the original written work and have those be the animated movies. So to me, I think the quality has dipped over the last 5 to, however many years when they started doing this stuff. But there's still some great stuff to consume on the DC Universe app. So if any of these are on that list, make sure to give them a watch.
Our next question comes from @BrianSchaub1, who says, what are your hopes for the next Batman writer?
He's, of course, referring to Tom King no longer being on the Batman ongoing comic book, starting with, I think, issue 86. He couldn't do his full 100, but we are going to get him up until 85, and then we're going to get a new writer before Batman number 100. He's going to move over to Batman Catwoman, which I believe is a 12-issue maxi series, plus whatever other miniseries he ends up doing on the side. I'm going with dream answers that are not going to be the case. I'm not going to give you realistic answers. I'm going to give you what I want, and that's going to be...
your hopes, that's the question.
Right, that's true. That's true. I want Paul Dini. I want him to come back to comics, write some comics again, man. He did a great job on Detective Comics. He did a good job on Gotham City Sirens and, of course, Batman the Animated Series. So bring all of that to comics before he retires. Get him on some comic books. The other answer I would give, which is probably a little bit more realistic, is Peter J. Tomasi. Give him Detective Comics and give him Batman. But honestly, wherever they put Peter J., I will be there no matter what. Those are my two top hopes for Batman.
I only have hope for a story that we see, not so much a person. I just hope Batman and Catwoman get married and we never see Talia again. That's all I want. So pick whoever you want as long as they make that happen.
Do you think we'll get Scott Snyder coming back to Batman?
That would be amazing. I don't know.
I know Greg Capullo and Scott have said that last night is their last Batman story. Yeah, it's their last Batman story.
Right.
Can they each still do Batman without each other?
But would they feel like they're cheating on each other if they do Batman without each other?
Well, if they did, maybe they'd get back together later on and finally do another one.
Watching your Netflix show without the other person there. You can't do that.
I think another likable candidate would be, or likely candidate, is James Tynion IV, just because he's done work on Detective Comics before. He has worked very closely to Scott Snyder, so that could be another natural fit for the current line of comic books. But it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be tough to kind of continue that line of Batman books, although sales might indicate the opposite. But whoever they end up putting there, I'm sure will be a nice boost to the line of Batman.
There was also a question, all the things you love about Kelli, that I think I saw that one on there.
Yeah, I give you those pretty much each night. So
only because I force you.
Yeah, Brokettes, what are all the things you love about Kelli? Let us know on Twitter @ReasonsI'mBroke, @PalpaKelly. That's your question of the week.
It's because I'm hilarious. That should just be everybody's answer.
Well, something we did have this week is our wedding anniversary.
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years married. What is it, 10 years together?
11 and a half.
11 and a half. So it's going to be, I think we've celebrated a little bit lighter since having Leo. Not just a wedding anniversary, but
everything.
Birthdays and everything.
Our celebration is going out to dinner by ourselves.
Literally. And it's locally, it's somewhere, it's not a huge thing. But I'm hoping that we'll get to a larger type of celebration sometime soon.
Eventually, of course.
We're going to do your birthday at the end of this month. So that'll be something that we'll at least hopefully try to get out and stay somewhere else for the night. Just be out one night without Leo.
Be adults.
Yeah.
Not just parents.
Right. So we're going to aim for that next week. But yeah, with our anniversary this week, Leo enriches it in many ways as well, because he gets really happy seeing you and I together, and especially when we're affectionate with him and with us, and it's he likes seeing that we all love each other. So I think that's a very important part of raising the little man.
It is. And, it's so cool to me. We have been together for so long, since we were very young, and to see how we've grown and how our relationship has grown and how we've changed and become different people, but done that together. And, the great times that come with that. And yeah, sure, there's struggles too, but he has definitely changed a lot of things in how we celebrate. And, we were talking about going away for the night, and I was like, I don't care if we just come back home and sleep. Like, he'll be someplace else.
The final thing I have on the Brocat block on my end is it's a whole story. The place next door, it's a hair cuttery. They have a lot of smokers that work for them.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time when I'm going into work or I'm throwing something away in the dumpster in the back, there's someone out there smoking. Well, they used to have a plastic bucket of cigarette ashes and cigarette butts that they just filled up over time. And what happened one day is that plastic bucket of ashes caught fire and it melted the whole bucket. And now there's just a pile of melted plastic and cigarette ashes that has like weird plants growing out of it because, I don't know, because they're bringing shit. Yeah,
finds a way.
There you go. So speaking of life, I've been observing every couple, for the last few weeks, this giant ass wasp going over that pile of ash and nicotine and plants and rubble and plastic, and like moving soil around and taking rocks and moving them and just kind of going all around it. I'm like, what the fuck is it doing? It's just sticking around, this one wasp. Well, today I go to the back and I'm throwing away some cardboard. And I look down at that pile, I'm like, is he still fucking working? And I see this little hole in that pile of ashes and 2 wasps fly out of it. I'm like, this motherfucker's been building a goddamn nest. And the owner told me he's probably building a nest. And I'm like, out of those fucking little ashes, what's he fucking gonna do? You can't build a
They're
nest
addicted
out of
to
that
nicotine
shit.
now, of course.
Well, we joke that it's gonna make a super wasp that's like works twice as hard because it's on nicotine.
But it's got to be real skinny too.
It's got a little hole in the throat because it's already got cancer. But
wasp cancer.
no, wasps are assholes. They would just outlive the cancer. They're awful creatures. So now there's a wasp nest in this rubble of melted nicotine and plastic that I emailed the owner and I said, do we have to let the landlord know? Is that something he deals with or she deals with, or do we have to deal with it ourselves? And it's a bigger problem for the hair cuttery because it's right in front of their door, but it's right next to our shop. So I'm like, no, we need an answer. So I went to the back and I was going to spray it down with Clorox. Like we had a bottle of like bleach, but it doesn't have that laser option on it. And Brocats know I don't do fucking bees or wasps, so I'm not getting near that shit. So instead I'm like, well, what else do I have in this room of chemicals that has the laser option? And we have this stain removal, carpet removal thing. And I'm like, well, that has a spray thing. And I fucking from, 10 feet away, and I sprayed that now nest down with that shit. And I don't think it did anything, but if it gets one wasp away, fine. If it kills one, even better. But I don't think it's strong enough to actually do shit.
That's not doing shit. Those are wasps.
Terrible, terrible creatures. So that's what happened to me this week.
I had a busy week, kind of a stressful week in the beginning. The manager of the store that I'm at right now went on vacation, so I was the manager in charge, right? And I'm like, I'm ready. And then 2 people called in, so I had to go in at 4:30 in the morning 2 days in a row, which killed me. But again, it was a lot of fun, right? I went in and I got my coffee. You just tough it out. And the one benefit to that is then I was so tired. I slept 9 hours the next 2 days because I just fell asleep when Leo did. So thank you for putting up with my exhaustion. So it was a tough first half of the week, but the second half has been better. And now, like you said, we're on the eve of our anniversary, coming up on that. And then we'll get to go out and have a good time and relax and recharge. And so that's what I'm most looking forward to. Other than that, it was just a normal week with the little guy, and he's just so stinking cute. I don't know how I function.
There you go, Brocats. That is our week and the Brocat block and the podcast for today.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in this and every single week. As we've mentioned several times, you can reach out to us on Twitter at ReasonsI'mBroke at Kelli.
You can also join us on our Discord lounge in the comments or rather in the description of today's episode. But once again, huge thanks for making this month the largest one in our podcast history.
Shit.
And thank you if you've already voted for podcastawards.com on their games and hobbies. We're trying to go 3 for 3 this year, so we really appreciate it if you would vote, if you enjoy the show, and if you would at least tell a friend about the podcast, something that they might like. Let them know. Point them over to thereasonsimbroke.com.
And don't forget, if you want to win that free digital copy of Shazam, go to speakpipe.com. We also have the link in the description. And leave us 30 seconds or less. What is your favorite scene from the DCEU and why?
So, Brokeheads, I've been Rocker Daniel.
And I am your Emperor Palpa Kelli.
And Brokehead Core.
All will be well.